right, good afternoon. God, that was effective. I wish my kids listened to me like that. Look, first and foremost, my name's Chris Halbard. I turn the volume up. Got ya? My name's Chris Halbard. I lead Velonetic, and it is my pleasure to welcome you all here. Yeah, very much. I'll be very selfish about this for a few seconds. We designed this office this way for these types of sessions. Great believer that sending out PowerPoints and emails will get you so far, but getting people together, talking things through, accepting that we don't necessarily have all the answers to all the questions, and I guarantee we haven't looked at all the angles that we should have done, but hopefully we've got most. These sessions are about getting everybody together and say what's been missed, what's on your mind. We have got collectively, all of us, probably a market-changing, once-in-a-lifetime transformation. And I wrote that down and looked at it, and it scared the living daylights out of me about 6-9 months ago when I took this job. But then you look at the facts, yeah? Let's think through what we put through this platform today. Yeah, it's over 100 billion sterling. It carries somewhere north of 2.5 million different premiums or claims at any point in time. And the number of messages is a number that I couldn't actually tell you what it is because I don't know what you call it when you have so many notes that go beyond, but it was a lot and way beyond hundreds of millions. And we're running that business today. We're running that business today on a mainframe. For those who are a bit techie, that's clunky to put it the least. We're on applications, some of them coming up to their 30th year anniversary. They're older than my own kids, which surprised me. And we're managing to do that and hit great service, largely because people in this room and people in Velonetic support each other. You know, we can only process so far. We need your help, your query. It's a partnership, and that partnership gets this market moving, gets us to hit those SLAs, and gets this market to provide that service out together. Now that ethos, that partnership, is what this event is about. You know, collectively here, this is the fastest growing piece of the market. Yeah, definitely the fastest growing piece of my business. So our goal is pretty simple. Invest as much time as you want and as you need with whatever experts, people I can put to the table so that you can help us as we help you deliver this transformation. My only goal at the end of this, and I will come back for Q&A and stuff like that, is no one leaves here with a question that hasn't been asked. Now, the message I used, I did a town hall this morning with my own teams, and I'll use the phrase I've used for over 25 years, which is the only stupid question is the one you don't ask. Because if you don't ask, we don't know there's an issue. You may have seen something that no one else has. I guarantee you there's going to be, bumps in the road and little items and things we've got to work through. So please be as candid as you can and as constructive. Let's think about solutions rather than problems. But from Velonetic to you all as members of the IUA, of the corporate market, we're here to help you. Yeah, so feel free to ask for help. As much as we can put stuff on websites, as much as we can give you the Blueprint 2 website, I have absolutely no problem saying to everyone in this room that this meeting room, these facilities, the ability to cut these rooms into anything from a group of 120 to 70 to 10, to actually have the bandwidth to show you the live demos of the functionality, to sit down with interactive working materials and boards so you can walk your own teams through it. This resource belongs to you, not me. My job is just to make sure you use it. So feel free, book, ask, come use the place. Come help take away some of that uncertainty. That's the investment we've made and the investment we want to make in you. to get you forward and get us all over what's going to be a pretty momentous event in July, okay? So feel free to be candid, enjoy yourselves. As soon as the questions get hard, ask Louise, don't ask me. If they get expensive, definitely ask Louise and not me. No, we'll work our way through that. But please make the best use of your time, yeah? We're here to help you.
Now, hi, for those of you that don't know me, my name's Louise Day. I work with the IUA. I've actually been there 9 years, so I've seen some other transformations, and I'm going to endorse what Chris has said. This is the once-in-a-lifetime change that we're making, and I think it's a fantastic opportunity. And it's absolutely clear that the company market is growing rapidly in London, and therefore there's a lot of scope and a lot of excitement about making sure you are all ready to adopt these new digital services on the 1st of July. So this programme is designed to enhance what Lloyds are doing, and what they're doing a fantastic job of for the managing agents is to make sure you get some dedicated resource as well. And if I'm going to look to spend the volume discount money that we've collected over the years of the Fern projects, then what better way to spend it than with the experts in doing all of this processing, the ones that are living and breathing it day after day, and the ones that are having to transform centrally. Why would we not spend it with Velonetic to make sure that you get a service that's tailored and dedicated to you, with responsive to you and to your needs? Because the company market is not the same as the Lloyds market. You're not a bunch of people that will do what Lloyds tells you to do. Your part in London is a small part of your total business, and you need the right help to make sure that you can be ready. And hopefully you'll be excited about this programme of work as I am. Okay. Have you got the agenda?
At that, the agenda is up. I'd better use this microphone before I get told off, but I apologise. I've got my voice back about 2 days ago, so bear with me. Look, if you look at the agenda, we're really trying to cut it into some areas. What are we going on as regards onboarding to get onto the platform? You'll go through that in quite a lot of detail. We will then get into some of the insights of how to learn, how to work through it, and then you've got the update, the progress update on testing, tech. What do you want to know? What are we working through? As we went through the Blueprint 2 event, I think we were pretty clear. We've got phase 1, July this year. I nearly said July next year then, that would have been a bit of a disaster, wouldn't it? July this year. We have pushed phase 2 back at the market's request, so that goes back to March, end of March 25. We are working through how we can enhance that release in March 25 to make it easier to adopt. More information will flow on that, on some of the things we're thinking around. Alvaro will be here. Feel free to ask him all the hard questions. And then Kerry's going to walk through with whatever experts we need in the room. Everybody's been in, is here. As I said earlier, ask whatever questions. But the agenda's about you. There's time built in there for us to stop, to pause. If we want to go deep on something, feel free. But then in the interactive sessions, you decide what you want to talk about, okay? All right, at that, Nicole.
It's me. Just grab any one of those. I'll use that one. Thank you, because that works. Is it on?
Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Louise. So for those of you that don't know me, I'm Nicole Mott. I'm Head of Internal Transformation at Velonetic, and I'm also responsible for training, learning and development, and also onboarding. So I've brought with me today Sean Anderson, who's going to cover onboarding and give you a real in-depth insight into the process, what we're going to cover, what you guys are going to get as additional services. And then we're going to flip over to learning and development and training, and we're going to take you through everything around that as well. So we're going to be here to support you through your digital journey. And that means we're going to provide training that is purposeful, meaningful and timely. And hopefully you'll see that. We've got a couple of videos, and hopefully you'll see that come through in those as well. Your feedback's really, really important. So throughout today, and also in the Q&A sessions and after this event, we would really, really, really value your feedback. Questions, we're here for you guys. So email any of us, come and talk to us. Anything that you guys want to talk to us about, feedback on, ask questions on, then that's what we're here for. So before I hand over to Sean, I do have a request. If you haven't got your phones out, could you get your phones out? Because we're going to be asking you to do an interactive piece with a couple of QR codes. So again, the feedback thing starts today. Before I hand over to Sean, we do have a short video around onboarding, so we're going to play that and then Sean will talk you through the process. Thank you.
Good afternoon. So for those of you that haven't met me, I'm Sean Anderson and I'm Head of Service Transformation and Transition at Velonetic. So up until recently I've been working with the IUA on all of the service descriptions for how the new services are going to work in the digital world. And as part of the transition piece, I'm working on developing the onboarding process and service for this transformation. So what we wanted to start with is just a bit of scene setting around what we mean by onboarding, as it means different things to different people, particularly those who work in the tech arena. So as you may have seen this in a different format as part of the BP2 networking events, we have an adoption approach which is across Velonetic and the market. And there are 7 streams within that. So we've got the engagement communities out. Sorry, apparently you couldn't hear me. So the engagement communities are out in the community helping you understand what you need to do and what the vendors need to do. There's the Vanguard team, Lindsay will touch on that later. There's the actual contractual piece. Then there's the onboarding process. And that looks slightly different for this transition to the new services than it would for a new customer joining the services in Velonetic. And we'll talk about how that differs slightly. So think about it, a lot of the setup is already done because you're already using the services. So our role starts after the contract signature up until you're successfully logged into the platform for the first time. So a lot of the things that you would pick up if you were joining a brand new service will be covered by other streams. We've then got the external education, which Maria and Stuart will be talking about, testing, which Lindsay will talk about later, and then across all of that is adoption communication, and that's ongoing, and that's again led jointly by Velonetic and the engagement partners. So before we dive into the generic process that we're using for the market, just wanted to ask you, if we can get the slide up, so this is where you need to get your phones and devices out. What would define for you an outstanding onboarding experience? So a 1 to 3 word phrase, because it's going to come up in a word cloud. So if you write a massive paragraph, that's not going to work. And that will help us steer the conversation this afternoon around what good looks like and how we can continue to enhance the offer for the company market in partnership with the IUA. So just going to give you a couple of minutes to do that. Okay, well there's a clear winner so far. Don't be swayed by that. Luckily that's in our project team's mission statement, so I'm glad we got that one right. So yeah, so seamless, easy, not complicated, assured, that's a good one. We can touch on that in the breakout groups a bit later. Comprehensive, collaboration, working together. Okay, any more coming in? It seems to have slowed down a bit. So that's right. I think there's some clear themes there, so that's what we want to work on together to deliver. We will make it as easy as possible. Not going to lie, this is, as we've already touched on, one of the biggest transformations and transitions the market's ever seen. So we will make it as easy as possible, but there's going to be some things we need to work together to iron out. So what we'll do now is I'll just take you through the generic process and then touch on some of the areas that's going to differ under this partnership offering. So I've stolen this slide from another deck. We'll make it a bit sexier for the future. But fundamentally, so over to the left, you can see, so the contracting team will work with you and your legal teams to release the contracts and get them signed. Our team will work with the engagement team to help track those back in to make sure everyone's on track to go live. But we are not part of that contracting process, which is what you would expect a traditional onboarding team to do. So that's one of the slight differences in this approach. Once those forms come back in, it will tell us all the services you want to engage with, and that's when we will begin to tailor your onboarding pathway based on the services that you've chosen to adopt. The tailored pathways for the company market will be much more company specific. The rest of the market get a bit of an off-the-shelf one. And what we've done to help that is we're standing up a dedicated team that will deal only with company market onboarding processes. And that enables us to give you a faster turnaround than for the rest of the market. So we're offering a max 2-day turnaround on any queries. And that's one of the reasons we wanted to get a feel from you of what's really important so we can make sure that we're building that into the offering and the process. The pink things are all the technical onboarding that goes on. That's driven by the new parties application in the platform, and that enables you to access ServiceNow, which is our help desk solution, and the gateway and all the ASG stuff. We will walk that through. So we will take all of the information we require from you once and then pass that on to the relevant teams to make sure that everything gets done. What we want to do is remove what happens now, which is where we ask you to fill in about 30 or 40 forms, most of which ask for the same information over and over again. So we're developing that process and solution now. And then the key thing, which will help all of us stay on track of that, is we've got a tracking onboarder, and it allows us to monitor the progress all the way through that process and flags to us where someone might be stuck so that we can proactively support you, or where we think you're behind the curve in terms of getting in on time. And we've got a series of dashboards that will be available to the IUA, but also we're happy to work with you if you want your own dashboards to provide those so that you can see if you've got multiple entities, which some firms do, where each of those are at in the process. And there's a reporting analyst dedicated to that for this market. And then the last piece, I mean, there's a load more detail under that. I won't bore you with it today. But the last piece is the readiness. So we will work in partnership with the engagement teams to track your readiness and help make sure that you are ahead of the curve and ready to go live when it all gets switched on after the cutover weekend. And then there's a period of post-go-live support. And again, we've got a dedicated team that will pick up the company market queries as a priority, so you get that speed of response. And then one of the things we want to do is, depending on what the demand is offer some extra services on top of that. But we need to see how what you want and how we can resource that to make sure it works. But the guarantee is that there is a dedicated team picking up those queries, and they'll get to the front of the queue. So the last piece, if there's any questions on that, I'll be around, and we've got the breakout sessions later. So the last piece is, and it's sort of the opposite of what we asked at the beginning, have you got any particular concerns about the onboarding, so the transition to the new service, and where do you think we can help you? And that's where we can then work on building out what that dedicated team are going to do into those microservices. Okay, yeah, so we'll need to pick some of these up under some of the other streams. But again, nothing so far has come up that is taking us by surprise, which is a good thing. So we're going to talk about training in a moment. Cutover, there's a specific working group looking at the cutover plan. That is obviously linked to onboarding and transition, but it's actually much more technically focused. So we'll have to cover that at another date. Keep it simple, good one. Go live criteria, yeah, so we're working on the readiness tracker and what that looks like. You'll have a checklist of everything that needs to be in place before going live. One that a lot of people are concerned about because it's out of our control is the whitelisting of all the new domains and URLs, so please make sure that's on your agenda. Yeah, testing we're going to talk about a bit later. Have I missed anything else? Seems like training's the biggest. It doesn't tell us how many people have said it, but it's quite large. Okay, that's really helpful. As I say, we'll cover some of that a bit later in today's session, but it gives us a lot to go away and think about. So up next is learning and development. So I'm going to welcome Maria and Stuart. As they're coming up, we've just got a short video for you to have a look at as a taster of what we've got in store.
Hi, welcome everyone again to Gallery 4 and thank you for joining us today. Okay, so my name is Maria Hassel and this is my colleague Stuart Smith and we are senior members of the L&D team at Velonetic. So, one of the most important things to us is supporting all of you, our customers, but something we're really passionate about is empowerment. And we want to empower you to progress through this transformation journey by actively participating in your learning story. So, with that in mind, can I go to the next slide, please? We'd like to present to you a scenario. Imagine that your company has said, right, it's time for a laptop upgrade. As standard, everyone is going to get a Dell PC with the Microsoft Office suite already loaded. But that's it. That's the standard offering. But what if that standard offering isn't enough? Next slide, please.
I feel like Chris Whitty. So as part of this scenario, we want you to think about what is really important to you. So what, in this case, describes your perfect laptop? What functions do you want it to have? What sort of things would you want to have as an add-on for that laptop? How can you make this solution really work for you and meet all your needs? And have the next slide. So we're going to give you two sets of options. The first option is the actual size of the laptop. So have a think about what you use a laptop for, what you need to use, what you need to do with it, whether you need to take it anywhere. And we give you three options. So you've got the smaller 13-inch, perhaps it's portable, you can travel with it, all the way up to the 17 if you need more real estate, if you want to be able to manage complex and difficult spreadsheets, or if you want to be able to do a graphic design process. So that's your first option. What's the size of the laptop that you need? The next options are the add-ons. What functions, what features, what things do you want to add to this solution, this laptop, in order to make it capable of doing the things you want, both from a functional perspective, but also from a ease and ability to make it really do what you want, or be able to do what you want with it. So you've got memory, you've got covers, mouse, joysticks, bags, chargers. You've got a range of options there. So what we want you to do is pick from your size and pick from the add-ons that will really make this laptop the best it can possibly be for your particular needs. So we've got another slide up. So what we'd like you to do is get your phone out and have a bit of a scan and pick your favorite laptop. Great, so a lot of people picking the 15-inch back bang in the middle, great. and a good mix between all of the different add-ons. So everyone seems to want something slightly different from the options that they've got. Brilliant. Yeah, so I think if we're all done there, yeah. So as you can see, everyone wants something slightly different out of this fictitious laptop that we're not really going to give you. So what we've hoped that's kind of elaborated and shown is that everyone's wants something different. You're given a base solution, and when given the option, when given the ability to choose, you're able to select something very different to the person sat next to you, and that you all want something that will meet your needs, and each different solution is going to be very, very different to the person that's on your table or next to you. So, why did we get you to do that? So, as part of the offering that we're giving in learning development, as the education piece, the whole market gets a standard package. So that includes service manuals to take you through the processes, IPOS and ICOS user manuals to take you through the ins and outs of each of the polls. You'll be getting updates on the 4 doors in January and March. You'll also be getting short videos in order to explain a bit more about the features, functions, and the screens within the polls themselves. But for the rest of the market, that's it. But between all of us and through our partnership adoption program, we're going to be able to offer you so many more options that mean you can tailor your learning story based on your requirements and also based on your learning preferences. So we're going to be offering instructor-led training in person in London. We're going to be scheduling that probably later on in the year. I don't think we've quite got a date yet. But we can also offer virtual instructor-led sessions as well at your request. We'll be offering enhanced e-learning packages, which we're building as we speak, looking at the finer system points, but also looking at specified processes where needed. And lastly, we're looking at hosting more events that are going to be aligned to the skills that we need to develop in order to carry on through this journey and to embrace the changes that are coming. So with that, thank you all for attending today, and I'm...
Sorry,
Hello.
is that what you mean by standard package and customer self-service and enhanced customer self-service? Is this how we're trying to...
So the standard offerings are going to be the user manuals that are going to just be the instruction-based items. What we're offering you as the company market through this program are all of the additional parts that I've just talked about there. So there is going to be a learning platform that you'll have access to. You'll be able to have the instructor-led training, but that's just on offer to you as effectively your standard as well. You can pick from any of these. We can offer you as many sessions as needed, and we'll be hosting more events purely for the company market.
Yes, but that what I mean is back into the Velonetic packs that we've been receiving, they talk about customer self-service and enhanced customer self-service.
That's the testing area. That's
the
not in
testing
training.
area.
We'll be talking a bit more about that later.
Okay, that's what I wanted to clarify, thank you.
Sorry, I haven't seen the back, sorry. But you can access all of this, thank you Louise, you can access all of this through the LMS, which again we are working on now. So I'm going to hand over to Nicole now. She's going to talk about that in a little bit more detail, and thank you everyone for listening to us.
Thank you. So thank you guys for taking us through the onboarding and also the training and learning and development. What I just wanted to finish with is just giving you an update of where we currently are, because we have been progressing with this at pace actually. So from an onboarding perspective, as Sean said, we've recruited the team are in place. We have the tracker which is being built, which will be ready in the next week or so. And we've also started to process map everything, which you've seen on there. So again, from that area, we've really kind of excelled and pushed that through, and we're ready. So we're ready to go. From a learning and development perspective, as Maria said, we've been implementing the LMS, so the learning platform. So we've partnered with an organisation and they are developing that, so it's bespoke for the company market. We've also started to pull all of the scoping together for the modules. We've designed those modules, and our first module will be available at the 1st of March, actually on that platform, and that's user administration. We've also started looking at the venues where we're going to be hosting the instructor-led training, and we've also started to build a booking system, so you'll be able to book on the courses over an 8-week period. They'll be specific for claims or premium and user administration as well. Also, in March, we're going to do some lunch and learns around user administration, so some drop-in sessions for those as well. So again, we've really started to push with the learning and development piece. But again, one of the things I'd really appreciate is your feedback, questions, so that we can answer anything that you've got any concerns around. But hopefully from seeing this, you can see the things that we're going to be providing. On the learning management system, you will have advanced self-paced learning as well. And that will also give you the opportunity to ask for reports with regards to your own organisation, so you can see how many users have gone into the training material, how many people have taken the course, what the results were of those courses. So again, it's more bespoke for you and your organisation. So I'd like to thank you all for listening to us today. Hopefully that's given you a bit more of an insight into the things that we're going to be providing and working with you on really closely over the next few months. But please come and talk to any of us today, ask us any questions, any feedback that you've got. That would be absolutely brilliant. And I'm really looking forward to working with you all as well.
Hi everyone. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Halbard Montenegro. I lead products and technology for Velonetic. And today I'm going to talk about 2 topics. I'm going to do a brief program update. So the build, the machine, my baby is about to come into the light. And the second bit, I'm going to talk more about customer testing and what are the options that you have as a customer to test the new machine and to make sure that you are ready for July. It's going to be the best month in our history. From the program, from the build program side, the most important bit is that it's on track. We are in our plan, in the development of Epics and the development of the new machine and the platform, we're on track. There's a few areas of watch list items that I'll describe a little bit below. And there's a few areas that are new, but so far we are on track for July 2024. Very important. The second bit that I know that you have seen since December and November, and actually it was an original request from the IUA, is that we were able to include in the program that were previously out of scope 39 bespoke EDI variations. So we included these 39. Those include the Accord for All messages. And these are aimed to aid adoption. At the beginning of the program, we had a decision of trying to standardize all messaging types across the whole platform. And with these 39 bespoke variations, we're helping some of our customers, a lot of our customers that actually use these variations. Third bit is proportional treaty. We have a proportional treaty solution for phase 1. It is, as some of you might know about this project, has been not in a stellar position for a few years. Now proportional treaty is under my umbrella, under the digital processing services, and will be part of phase 1. Very important is on the prop treaty side, phase 1 is the way that we process work today. So ANS submissions, EDI messages. EBOT and EBOT for prop treaty will be part of future phases. As you remember from the December updates, phase 2 now is pushed to April 2025. It was planned for September of this year, and now it's pushed to April 2025. This gives a bit of wiggle room and a little bit of capacity for us in Velonetic to actually bring into scope some minor things that were not part of scope of phase 2 that will enhance digital risk and premium processing. So some of those things that we have discussed with some of you, like the FA for carriers, supplemental information of the settlement for the TA. There's an LPAN to EBOT transformer idea as well. So there's a few small bits that were not part of the scope that now have a potential of being in scope so that phase 2 in April 2025 is a lot easier and a lot more comprehensive. It's not a huge amount of capacity that we have, but it is small things that actually can make a difference because we have a very good set of customers that use phase 2 EVOT and ECOT messages outside of the London market that can provide some of these practicalities. So we will be announcing those in due course once we establish the capacity. Finally, I wanted to talk about some of the watch list items that we have. So we are on track. However, there are 3 areas that are not performing at the exact level that we needed. So that's proportional treaty. It was added to the scope fairly late, and it's a complex area of the build. EDI messages and AMI reporting. Those are 2 sides that have proven a little bit more complex of what we had planned. Again, we're going to hit our July go live promise, but those are areas that at the moment are amber in our program. So I wanted to be fully transparent on how the build is going. Customer testing. So customer testing, you will have 3 options. Vanguard customer testing, coordinated customer testing with limos, and what we call enhanced customer testing. I will not touch too much on Vanguard because I know that Vanguard members already have a lot of meetings and a lot of workshops. Vanguard is a select few customers that will have 2 phases of testing. An early access to the platform, so from February on, Vanguard members will be able to test the London market platform. And then afterwards, they keep on doing end-to-end testing all the way to June. The 2 that I'm going to focus on are the coordinated customer testing and the enhanced version of customer testing. So you can start deciding what is best suited for your organization and for your regulatory approval, for your board approval, and for your confidence in the new platform. Very important, I wanted to just briefly, without going too geeky on this, I wanted to briefly touch that before we get to customer testing, there is a plethora of testing that Velonetic and our vendors we do before you even touch the platform. So it's a pyramid. So we first do unit testing when we code, then we do functionality testing. So is the platform supposed to be working this way? Then we do system integration testing. That is, can claims talk to settlements and to reporting together? Then we do user acceptance testing. So that's our operations user actually putting a claim through the system and actually checking that it works. Then we have non-functional testing, that's performance, putting 10,000 claims in a minute, see if the platform performs. And then we have security testing. So all of these happens before you even touch the platform. So I just wanted to let you know that it's not that we finished coding and now you are the first ones to check if there's any bugs or defects. The other part that I wanted to mention that is across the 3 of them is, even though we have 3 pillars of customer testing, all of them have a common root. First of all, we're using the same Velonetic support. So test managers, technical environment support, onboarding, all of that will be done by the same team. Also, defect management. So if the Vanguard team finds 10 defects in claims, and the coordinated customer testing finds 2 defects, and then the enhanced customer testing finds 20 defects, all those defects will go through the same triage, the same process for fixing, the same communication back to the market to retest the fix. So all of that will be normalized across all customer testing. And all those reports and results will be available to all 3 areas. Let me be clear with that. If Vanguard finds 15 bugs in claims and we fix them, coordinated customer testing members and enhanced customer testing members will see the bug fixes, will see what were the defects, and they can retest those cycles because maybe there was a gap on their side or maybe it was not a defect for them. So all of the information will be shared across all 3. And the testing managers and the questions and the publications that will come out of those will be across all 3 columns. So let's talk about coordinated and enhanced and what is the difference between the 2 of them. On the coordinated side, First is free for all participants. So any broker and any carrier in our platform, as long as you are one of our customers, you're in. You will be given access to our test environment. You will be coordinated or paired, almost like a date, by LIMOS. So for example, if you are a LIRMA carrier and you want to test consortia claims that have single agreement, well, LIRMA is all single agreement, I'll use SCAP, then you will be paired with other brokers that want to test that. Let's say that you want to test mid-market carrier change, and you will be paired with other carriers that want to test that in the same cycles. So you will have that coordination done by LIMOS. The other bit as well is that it will be fully supported by us in Velonetic. So all your end-to-end test scenarios will be fully supported by us. Traceability matrix. So LIMOS will create with us a business scenario traceability matrix. This means that we will provide to the market the totality of everything that you can test in the new platform. And now you will choose what is important to you. So for example, if you want to test a correction requested by the carrier that affects 3 deferred installments, or a correction of an FDO of a treaty that affects 4 statements that have to be back out, or you want to test a claim that has a conflict of interest, and now the lead has to declare that conflict, and the agreement party goes to another person or to another organization. All of those business scenarios will be listed as permutations in this matrix. So now your test plans can be made from that matrix, and now you can test what is important to cover your part of the business. Access to training, scenario catalog, and release documentation. So, training. How can you test the new platform if you don't know how to use it? So the first thing that you will get is training materials. How to agree a claim, how to query a claim, how to start a correction, how to download a report. All of these things that you want to do in a portal, you will be able to have that training material. Of course, if you are messaging, you'll not have training material as long as you get the messaging. Your policy administration system or your claim administration system will have the information. Release documentation, very important when we start fixing bugs. So release 1 of IPOS might have 5 critical bugs. We fix them and release 2. Let's say that we find 3 more. We fix them, release 3. Now that you're testing in different cycles, you need to make sure that you understand in which release you are. So that way, if you test it and a bug appears, now you can retest in the next cycle and make sure that your release matches what your test coverage is supposed to be. Technical onboarding to the environment. Of course, you will need username and passwords for your users, your testers, your vendor, system passwords as well. So if you need to ask access through messaging through the SG gateway, or if you need to access portal. So technical onboarding, it would be a smaller version of what Sean was showing you before. So you would not be fully onboarded into the new platform, you would be onboarded into the test environments. So you will be onboarded as an organization, how many stamps you want to test, how many user types you want to test. All of that will happen for your testing activity. And finally, what I mentioned about the defect management support. So once you test, let's say 100 scripts, you raise your hand, I found 10 bugs, Velonetic here, what are you going to do about it? So we triage this, we find the root cause, and then we tell you, yep, it's going to be in the next sprint, in the next version, it's going to be corrected. So all of that will be part of the coordinated testing. The enhanced side. The enhanced side is the same with 3 main differences. We, Velonetic, have a team on board where we can give you a hand to do a bit more. So, I'll put a practical example. Let's say that you need some help with your testing plan. You're not too sure how many error rates you want to test in your premium submissions. We can help with that. Let's say that you're not entirely sure how many permutations of EEA and non-EEA business in the same risk you want to test. We can help with that. Let's say that you do have a testing plan, but you're not entirely sure on how you want to put those into cycles. Shall I test first premiums, then claims, SIM rips? Shall I test corrections here, where? We can help you with that. So the enhanced version, you will receive Velonetic support, individual support for your testing plan. That also includes the development and execution of specific bespoke scenarios. So let's say that you want to test a Lerma claim where you are a follower, but you do not have another Lerma customer that wants to be a lead in your exact same cycle. We, Velonetic, can be your lead. So we can act as the lead, do the other sides of the script, help you execute that. So now you as a follower receive the notification, you can agree, there's a signing and a settlement, and the whole test end-to-end can happen. And finally, we can help with the creation of test data. So for example, a lot of the tests that you will start will be historic reachback. So for example, in the new platform, if you want to put an additional premium of an original premium that was put in the mainframe, now you have to have both sets of data. We can help with that. We can help create 10,000 cases, 5,000 cases. Let's say that you want to have some that have been agreed in WIP, notified but not agreed, rejected. We can help with that test data creation as close as possible to a real world scenario. And this is where the enhanced customer testing comes into place. The enhanced customer testing will be a paid service, so there's a fee for this. And it's aimed at those that want to either test that extra mile or don't want to be coordinated with the rest of the market and you want to be on your own cycles. Governance structure. As I said before, the 3 customer testing activities will all report to an operational committee. Every week, we will get all the reports, all the defects, how many scripts were done in each of the areas, so claims, treaties, line slips, consortia, Scheme Canada, you name it. Every service that we provide, all of that will be fed to the operational committee, and then once a month, we will have a steering committee where the associations, where they can see all of this happen. All of these steps are making that evidence trail of the go, no go decision. Because at the end of June, we, the market, we have to be confident, all of us, that this works for everybody. And this is where the steering committee, from that source material, can say, yes, I'm happy with what I see. I can see that all the defects that were very important, P1s and P2s, are fixed. I can see the P3s and P4s here have a fast follow fix, and I can say that my customers are happy with this. All of that will be a single governance structure for all 3 parts. At the beginning of February, you will receive the scenario or the business scenario matrix, so that catalog. So again, that's the totality of everything that we do. So that way you can start planning, oh, I want to test this area. I have a lot of claims. I have a lot of open market premiums. I'm a reinsurer. I do a lot of business on this type of class of business. I don't do non-bureau leads. I don't do any Lloyds. I don't do any of the fulfilled settlements through RBS. I only do non-cash entries. So now you can start picking up from that matrix what are the scenarios that are important to you and how many test scripts you actually need for each of those scenarios. We will start onboarding and the technical environment in March because in April we want to start full testing of the platform for both coordinated customer testing and enhanced customer testing. That means that before that, between February and March, your test plans, either together with us or together with Limos, need to be in place. So we can start promptly on the 1st of April. It's a very condensed time window. It's very compressed. There's going to be a lot of testing done by a lot of parties, but this is the best way that we can have to mimic how the market works today. If we have most of the customers testing at the same time, we're actually mimicking real market conditions because now you have the complexity of everybody on the same environment. All of these to be ready for the July cutover. So the 3 main, before I go to Q&A, the 3 main actions that I need all customers to take is the first one, of course, without saying, you need to implement any system or messaging changes that you need to implement beforehand. Before you start testing, your vendors and your own software needs to be ready. If you're a portal user, you don't need to have any system ready, you just need to be trained. But if you're a system-to-system or message user, your systems need to be ready. The second bit is we are publishing, and I think that there's already some reports there, Ray. We're publishing Vanguard reports already. So Vanguard has started connectivity testing. We'll start more London market business testing in February. We'll have more testing in March. So keep an eye on those, because Vanguard is already covering or planning to cover a lot of the business scenarios that you might want to test. So now you can take a decision. If Vanguard tested scenarios 1 to 150, is that enough to satisfy my confidence? Do I want to test them again? Do I want to test some variations of those scenarios? Or do I want to do something completely different? So keep an eye on those reports that are being published on the website. And lastly, choose which flavor of customer testing actually is better for you. Am I on the coordinated side? Am I on the enhanced side where I need a bit of more hand-holding? Do I have, in my testing capability, do I have capable test managers, testers? Do I have operation people that can do the testing? Do I have vendor in my IT department that can do the testing? What do I need? Do I need Velonetic to put some people on my behalf? Am I okay? So that's very important. Each customer must now choose which area of testing you want to fall under, so we can start onboarding you in the right column. Great, thank you very much.
So what we were trying to create here was a more personalised approach for the company market. We've been working very closely with all members of the IUA on what would work, and we really wanted you to feel that this was a bit different to anything we've done before. So hopefully we've achieved that. So when we set out to do this, this was really about making sure you felt valued. You weren't just part of a bigger BP2 event. You were fully considered in terms of your own specific requirements. Because, I mean, we've said this phrase several times in and out of this room. You know, you're the same, but you're different. And although you're following a lot of the same processes, you've also got a lot of your own individual processes. And we've heard some of those today, and it's really important that we understand those and we take them into consideration on how we move forward, okay? So we want to make sure you felt that you were heard. I mean, that we have to prove over a period of time. It's making sure we come back on those questions, that you had the opportunity to ask everything that you wanted to hear, that you feel supported, not just by us, but by the IUA as well. And you can see a pathway of how we're going to help onboard you to this digital world. That you go away feeling very engaged, and that you had the opportunity to ask everything you wanted. And I guess most importantly, it's what is available to you under this funded programme of work, okay? And that is important. It is a funded programme of work here. So all the different permutations that you've heard today around onboarding, engagement, training, testing, including enhanced testing, that is a funded programme of work, okay, specific for the company market. So if there's anything following this that you're not clear about, or you go away, you're wherever you are this evening and it pops into your mind, you know, this is just the beginning. This is how we move you along the journey, okay? So you're going to be receiving a questionnaire. We all love a questionnaire after these events. It's really important for us and for you that you fill it in and come back to us, because it's how we shape these future events. You know, did you feel it was different? Did you like the kind of interactive sessions? Or do you want to be spoke as a panel and then just a generic Q&A? We can tailor this to whatever suits your requirements around the room. And obviously there's a bigger audience as well that we'll build this out over time, okay?